Welcome in, everyone. I am so glad you're joining me today. We're going to take our time and walk through some of the absolute most fascinating shifts in AI system design. As an old mentor of mine used to say, the best way to understand a really complex system is to just take it one piece at a time. So settle in. We are looking at the late 2025 design standards for AI memory, specifically semantic caching and state management. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how modern AI architectures are saving massive amounts of money and preventing catastrophic data loss. To keep things really manageable, we're going to break today's lesson down into 3 clear chapters: the concept, the example, and the takeaway. Chapter 1, the concept. Let's look at AI memory evolution. So let's start by defining semantic caching, and I want you to think about it this way. Semantic caching is like keeping the answer to a frequently asked question on a sticky note near your desk so you don't have to look it up in the massive dictionary every single time. It's a remarkably simple analogy, right? But it perfectly grounds this highly technical AI infrastructure. Instead of making a really computationally expensive call to a massive large language model every single time a user asks a question, we literally just check our smart little sticky note first. Okay, let's dive into this comparison. Historically, we used what's called exact caching, and exact caches are incredibly brittle. They rely on hashed query strings, which means if a user makes even a minor typo, say spelling weather with 2 E's, the cache just breaks. It requires 100% string identity. But modern semantic caching, that relies on vector embeddings and something called cosine similarity. Rather than looking at the exact letters typed, it mathematically evaluates the user's actual intent. If I ask, what is the temp outside versus how hot is it outdoors, the semantic cache knows I'm asking the exact same thing. Now, how does an AI manage a long, complex train of thought? It all comes down to this one core principle. The state is the single source of truth for an agent session. I really want the gravity of that to sink in for a second. In modern AI, the state isn't just a simple log of messages. It is the entire mind. It's the complete current reality of the AI agent at any given moment. If it's not in the state, it simply doesn't exist to the AI. Because the state is that single source of truth, the 2025 best practice mandates that state objects must be strictly typed and append only. Why is that? Well, imagine an AI agent running a really complex research task for 2 solid hours. If the state allows for data to be overwritten or loosely modified, just a single glitch could wipe out hours of work. Making it strictly append-only is absolutely crucial for preventing critical data loss during these long-running execution loops. We only ever add to the memory, we never overwrite it. Chapter 2, the example. Let's see these mechanisms in practice. Follow my voice here and let your eyes trace this flow diagram. When a user asks a question, step 1 is we embed that query into a vector. Step 2, we search the cache for its nearest mathematical neighbor. Now really look at the threshold check in step 3. If the distance between the user's question and a past question is less than 0.05, meaning they are practically identical in meaning, we hit the cache. Notice what happens right there. We completely bypass the expensive LLM. We just serve the cached answer. Step 4 is kind of a modern 2025 nuance. For super high-stakes queries, a tiny verifier model might just double-check the work, but that massive heavy lifting, completely avoided. And here is the direct, real-world result of that pipeline, a 30 to 70% cost reduction. Because the API call hits the cache and stops, it completely bypasses the primary LLM. At scale, this saves an unbelievable amount of computational resources and financial overhead. It's a total game changer. Now let's see how this builds our understanding of state management in action. This is the parallel state, often called the fork and join pattern. Imagine you ask an AI to write a comprehensive market report. Instead of doing it sequentially, one step at a time, the state is forked or fanned out to 3 different subagents. One researches competitors, one pulls financial data, and one analyzes consumer sentiment. They're all working at the exact same time. Then, in the fan-in process, one manager agent receives all their outputs and beautifully merges them back into the main state object. It's delegation and compilation running in perfect harmony. But what happens if the server completely crashes while those 3 agents are working? That is exactly where checkpointing comes in. Every single update to the state is saved to a database like Postgres or Redis. If everything suddenly goes dark, the orchestrator simply wakes up, retrieves the last checkpoint, and resumes exactly where it left off. 0 lost work. Furthermore, this makes the user experience so much better. It enables an asynchronous UX.
You can submit a massive task, the agent essentially says, hey, I'm working on it, and it just chugs along in the background, fully resilient to failure.
Chapter 3. The Takeaway. Let's test your knowledge with a quick interactive quiz.
Here is your first interview question. Take a second to really think about this one. What is semantic drift in caching, and how do you prevent returning the wrong answer? Go ahead and formulate your best guess in your head.
Okay, so the crucial point is that semantic drift happens when your similarity threshold is just a bit too loose. Imagine a user asks, how do I fix my car? But your cache returns a previously stored answer for, how do I wash my car? They're semantically similar, sure, but functionally, totally different. To prevent this, we use multi-stage validation. We check the vector similarity, we do an entity match check to make sure the core nouns and verbs align exactly, and finally, threshold tightening. If it's a medical or technical query, we demand a 0.98 similarity score or higher. We simply don't take risks when accuracy is that paramount.
Excellent. Let's try question number 2. How do you prevent state bloat in long-running agent sessions so you don't hit the token limit? Again, take a moment. If our state is strictly append-only, like we learned, how on earth do we keep it from getting too big? The answer lies in compression and cleanup. We prevent state bloat through state pruning and message summarization. Once a subtask is complete, we literally prune or trim away the massive dictionary of tool results that we just no longer need to carry forward. And for the ongoing conversation, we run a specialized summarizer node every 10 turns or so. This compresses the chat history into a really dense, lean context block. It keeps the state object incredibly responsive while ensuring we never crash into the LLM's token limit. All right, final question to really evaluate how the industry standards have shifted. Why use a graph-based state machine instead of a simple while loop for agents? And this brilliantly illustrates why frameworks like LangGraph absolutely took over the industry. The traditional while loop method is opaque, it's brittle, and honestly, the nested air handling is a total nightmare to debug. But look at the graph-based approach. It is entirely observable and modular. You can easily visualize the logic as a mermaid diagram, you can test individual nodes, and because the framework deeply understands the transitions between those nodes, saving and loading the state becomes completely trivial. It takes the absolute chaos of agentic loops and turns it into organized, predictable engineering. Looking at the cutting edge right now in late 2025, our standard stack, stuff like hybrid caching with Redis VL, has gone completely multimodal. With models like Gemini 3 and GPT 5.2 native Omni, we aren't just caching text anymore. We are utilizing visual similarity to cache descriptions of previously processed images, we're using audio fingerprinting for voice commands, and we manage the whole shebang with dynamic TTL time to live, so the really popular answers stay alive longer while stale info just naturally gets evicted. I want to leave you with this final, honestly mind-bending concept about state management: time travel. Because our state is observable, append-only, and checkpointed, human intervention is totally revolutionized. A developer can literally browse a session history, find the exact moment an AI took a wrong turn, edit the state object at that specific timestamp, and just rerun the graph right from that point. We effectively have the power to rewind an AI's memory and rewrite its future. It fundamentally changes how we debug these systems. So the question I'll leave you with is, when your AI inevitably takes a wrong turn, how far back will you rewind?